staying because I don't want people to think that I'm just being a drama queen. Like, what the?
In the 80s, you can see that most doctors were self-employed, almost 20%. See? And now, in the 2020s, we're up to 60 to almost 80% of physicians employed by the hospital or corporate system.
Healthcare workers are 5 times more likely to be assaulted at work than workers in any other industry. We're facing shortages of tens of thousands of nurses and up to 80,000 doctors, depending on where you live. And instead of fixing conditions, we're watching waves of strikes, protests, and resignations. People saying this is no longer safe or ethical. Here's the truth. When half of new nurses leave within 2 years, that's not about toughness. When nearly half of doctors are burned out, that's not about dedication. When millions in turnover costs are treated as normal, that's not leadership.
In the 80s, you can see that most doctors were self-employed, almost 20%. See? And now, in the 2020s, we're up to 60 to almost 80% of physicians employed by the hospital or corporate system. Next, everyone's favorite is insurance denials, an inhibition to make payments for the work done. So you can see there was almost nothing tracked back in the 80s, almost zero denials, even though there were, and now up to almost, look right here, almost 20%, 1 in 5 claims are denied nowadays. This is another thing that's crazy. Even physicians who actually get claims approved, a lot of those claims that are approved, almost up to 10% at times are unpaid, even if they're owed the payment. Next is malpractice. Malpractice has gone up significantly in the last several decades. Almost up to 700 suits. Good news, of the last decade it dropped a little bit. But the ability to practice medicine without fear of litigation has also gone down. The fear is higher. Ooh! And our malpractice premiums have also increased precipitously as well. So what does all this mean? Well, practicing medicine comes with inherent stress, right? Life and death. There's a lot to learn, a lot to study. It takes a lot of hours. Patients are going through difficult situations, right? That is all part of, nothing's new there, right? That's the cost of practicing, right? But there's also a lot of value we get. We get to connect with patients in their most valuable moments. They come to us when they need like a learned friend or a trusted resource so we can help them in their desperate times. We can cure and help cure disease. We can provide care. We can comfort. There's a great lifestyle that comes with it. There's a good earning potential that comes with it, right? All of these things have always been the trade-offs, right? All of the value matches the stress, because I'm going to make the argument that has really not that much to do with reimbursement or payment, even though it does have to do with being able to like pay staff, et cetera, cover your expenses. But what's gone down is right here. It is autonomy, because the gap between the value derived from practicing medicine and the stress that it causes is covered by autonomy, right? We're willing to step in the gap. We're willing to do the things we need to do when we have the autonomy to make the decisions to do those things. But look, over the last several decades, when our autonomy gap was only a 3 minimally, but then we had managed care come in the 90s, and then EHR came along in the payer rules, and EHR, the rules that we have to follow to maintain the guidelines of this has only increased our burden and decreased our autonomy. And now burnout is almost at 63%, because the autonomy that we have to practice medicine is so low. So forget burnout. It's not having any control or autonomy. That's the problem. That's why your physician's going to quit.
I'm a family physician, and today's the last day that I'm ever going to be seeing patients in this office because I quit. And I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 4 a.m. and you would think that I'm like super excited, but I really just feel like a failure. I know I'm not. I know I'm not a failure. I know that the system failed me. 2 nights ago, even though I had a month left, I realized I just simply could not do it anymore. I couldn't even stomach 4 more weeks of this job. And I basically needed to get out effective immediately. I filmed a video about me pondering all that and like wanting to send the email and not knowing what to do. And the next day I had therapy in the morning and I was doing okay. But then as soon as I started talking about this, I started hysterical crying. And all I could think was, I just can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. And one of the things that is really difficult, that I was having a difficult time with in therapy, is that I've been through so much in my life. I've stuck through so much shit. And I've just been like, just a little bit more. You can do it. Just a little bit more. And that's what this was supposed to be. It was like, okay, 1 more month. You've got 1 more month. but I don't want to overcome it anymore. I don't want to. I want to be gone. And the only reason to keep staying is for my patients and to not get dinged by the medical board for abandoning patients, and to not just like make any money at all, even though I'm going to be paying the overhead, and I'm also going to be paying the salary of whatever physician takes over my schedule in the meantime. But I don't care. I was in the office on Monday and I was so angry, and I've been angry for a really long time, but like at this point, basically knowing that I'm leaving, every single time I walked into a patient room and they were projecting something onto me, or like it just sort of felt like you're going through a divorce and somebody's shouting at you and trying to get an emotion out of you and you're just dead inside. I don't want to be dead inside. But I basically just kept telling myself that I'm weak if I can't just stick it out 4 more weeks. I'm weak. What the f*** is that about? So what? I don't want to do it. And I don't understand why society, especially medicine, makes it seem like you're just a weak if you cannot take abuse for this long. Like, you should be able to do it, and like you're a weak-minded person. All right, I'm a weak-minded person then. I don't care. I don't care. And honestly, for the past 8 years, I've been working so hard to like not be like this. Like literally since residency started, it's been horrible. And I've been like burnt out for almost a decade. And basically throughout the entire time, the way that we're gaslit in medicine is like, you just need to learn to let things roll off your back. You need to learn how to not let things get to you. And like, by my estimation, the only way for that to happen is for you to just stop giving a f*** at all. And I think that's what happens with most physicians, is if you want to keep going, you cannot give any f***s. Because if you do, you're going to be like me and just crying every night. I know that's an overgeneralization. I'm sure there's much more strong-minded people out there. So like, whatever, you're so amazing, good for you. I'm not capable of this. But I was trying to hold on as long as possible to stay in this job to pay off my debt to them, which is over $150,000, which I will now have to pay back. But here's what I'm struggling with right now. I basically knew I couldn't see patients anymore like a long time ago, because I literally have trauma response going into work, and I get really angry inside. And like, the reason why I was holding on was, I don't know, I kind of just feel like everybody looks at me like I'm such a drama queen, like, get over it. And I can't. Even when I was telling our administrators yesterday that I just couldn't do it anymore, I basically just kept thinking to myself, they don't believe me. They think I'm just like just a lazy person, or I don't know. Basically, it's like, to what end would I just completely quit my job that I've worked so hard for, that I owe $150,000 to, that I have thousands of patients that need me, that my partners, like, I quit and I'm putting a lot of stuff on my partners because I'm leaving. And I'm staying because I don't want people to think that I'm just being a drama queen. Like, what the?
Hey guys, my name's Annika. I'm a resident physician. I have been posting on TikTok for years about my experience in medical school and then my transition to residency. I wanted to announce that I have decided to leave general surgery residency. However, I am transitioning now to internal medicine residency. I wanted to take the time to explain why I left, and it's just taken me a while to actually make the video, because at first I wasn't ready to talk about it. It was obviously a lot to go through. I was struggling a lot to come to terms with the decision that I felt that I had chosen the wrong specialty. And now that I have finally made the transition over, I am ready to kind of talk about it. This might be a little lengthy, but I'm just going to focus on why I switched. So in med school, I rotated on surgery pretty early on. It was my second rotation of my third year, and I fell in love with it. I really loved the pace. I liked being in the operating room. I liked the creativity that happened within an operation. I loved that there was a lot of anatomy, and I loved the surgical patients and the conditions that we would deal with on a daily basis. I think that I paid a little bit less mind to how much I liked some of the other rotations I did, particularly medicine, which was at the very end of my third year. So I did my sub-Is, I applied for surgery, I was really excited about it. Intern year began, and I first want to say that I am so grateful to the program that I was in because we got a lot of operative experience. I was doing cases that were not just intern level cases, but I got to experience things that were advanced beyond my level. As I got to operate a lot, I didn't feel excited about it. Part of that was because I was starting to realize that maybe I didn't love being in the operating room anymore. And part of that was clouded by being extremely burnt out and depressed. I was not in a good place at all. Adjusting to this new level of working, all the hours, all the things that you would see on a daily basis, it just really burns you out. On top of that, being in the operating room all the time, I wished I were not in the OR and I wished I was on the floor with my patients. I really miss being with my team on the floor. I compared myself to my co-residents who were always so excited to get into a case for the day, to learn from being in the operating room. And I just did not feel the same way. I started to get really scared because switching specialties is not easy, and I honestly wouldn't recommend it. On top of that, I was just absolutely miserable, to be quite honest with you. I ended up talking to my program, and they were so supportive of me, kind of helped me figure out what is it that I wanted to go into. And that took a lot of time. I had decided that internal medicine would be the fit for me. I think my surgery program gave me the absolute abundance of experience that I needed to feel what it would feel like to be a surgeon and be in the operating room and take care of surgical problems. And because of that experience, I felt more confident in the decision that I made, because I would have been worried about making a decision based off of an intern year of solely scut work and something that wasn't representative of what it's like to be in surgery. After I made that decision, it was like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. I can now say, being on the other side of things, that I feel so happy and I feel like I have purpose.
I can see why so many within the field are quitting. Things might not have turned out the way they wanted to. It's a lot of the same reason the teachers were crashing out in previous video. This is absolutely a real crisis, not speculation. The convergence of burnout, administrative overload, workplace violence, corporate consolidation, reducing autonomy, and inadequate support systems is creating a perfect storm driving healthcare workers out of the profession. What do you guys think? Maybe there are some doctors here. What are your thoughts? Do you see these issues where you at? Thanks for watching, and let's enjoy the collapse.